Thank you, parents, for coming in today. I hope most of you have done your homework, both parents and kids. Can someone tell me what the homework was?
We have to read the IGC orientation slides.
Okay, so I'm going to keep this brief since, the slides, you've had the slides for almost 2 weeks. I think you kind of have had a look at it. So we'll answer most pertinent questions alone today, yeah? So, Aju. So we'll go over what is IGCSE first, and then we have some subject experts here who will be talking about the subjects. I know the syllabus is a lot to read, but they will break it down as what is really happening in the classrooms and how they're learning these subjects. And then, of course, we'll talk about high school readiness, and we'll take some questions at the end. So grade 8, do you remember now what is IGCSE? We did speak about it like last week.
Certificate, International General Certificate, Secondary Education.
Okay. So yes, it is the International General Certificate for Secondary Education. And this is what, this is the program we do for grades 9 and 10 at KC High, yeah? Yeah. So the subjects we offer at IGCSE, we are offering about 17 different subjects. And if you see global perspectives, it's a multidisciplinary subject. And in this, I've grouped it according to the Cambridge groups. So first language English and all languages come there. Humanities and social sciences, where we have global perspectives in humanities as well as in creative and professional group. And if you look at coordinated sciences, that is physics, chemistry, and bio done together. So it's a double award, meaning that it's counted as 2 subjects, and they get 2 grades out of it. Instead of an A, they'll get an AA, or a BB, A star, A star. So it is counted as 2 subjects. It's 3 sciences, but they learn it together under one umbrella called coordinated sciences. Then under mathematics, international and additional mathematics, and creative and professional, we have a lot more subjects. So with coursework subjects that are written as coursework is a practical piece of work in every subject that is done. So when these experts talk about their subjects, they'll give you a little peek into what coursework for that subject means. Next. So these are the subjects we're offering at IBDP. So in IG, you get to take around 8 subjects, minimum 7, maximum 8. In IB, you get to take 6 subjects, 3 at the HL level and 3 at the SL level. So there are 2 ways you can think about when you're going to choose subjects now. If you are very clear, like history is my favorite subject, and I want to pursue it in college or want to do a major in it, then you know obviously you are going to pick history as your HL subject in IB, which means in IG, it's always best to pick the same subject because you have 4 years of learning one subject. So your knowledge as well as your skills in that subject gets more in depth. That's one way to go about it. But if you are not sure, which I know many of the grade 8s have already told me, we are not sure which subject we like as of now, or which pathway we are going to go, which is absolutely all right. Yeah, so pick subjects that comes easy to you, which you enjoy studying, and which you actually like. So there is a pathway for every subject. And also when we have a university and guidance counseling team who will talk to us towards the end, so they'll tell you how each subject pathway can work. So right now for this batch, your mandatory subjects are first language English or literature, coordinated sciences, international math or additional math, global perspectives or history, and second language. If you look at these mandatory subjects, can we go back to the IB slides? So in IB, what we have to pick, we have actually mapped it towards IG and IB as a 4-year plan. So if at IB, with every group, you need to take one subject. Yeah, except for group 6. Instead of group 6, you can take one subject in group 3 or group 4. So if you come back to our mandatory subjects, English is taken care of, math is taken care of, as well as your second language is there. And why have we put global perspectives or history as a mandatory subject? It's not only for mapping to IB, but because of the 21st century skills where we think that research is essential for every child, as well as figuring out which is an authentic source, which source doesn't work too well for them. how to look at different perspectives, and how to come up with your own ideas. In both global perspectives and history, they do write a research paper. So it builds that skill of research and writing. And coordinated sciences also is like a conscious decision we've made as a school to have all three sciences. We want every grade 10 learner who leaves KC to have basic knowledge of both physics, of all three, physics, chemistry, and biology. So that's how we've chosen coordinated sciences. And in these subject combinations, of course, you can pick any two subjects. I think I've covered this, key considerations. Okay, in this, one thing we need to remember is coursework subjects. When they talk about coursework, you'll understand that coursework does take a lot of time. It's not just a pen and paper exam. It's a practical piece of work, so it does take that much time, and you'll start working on it from the end of grade 9. So it's better to limit it to maximum 3 coursework. If you have more than that, 2 will be ideal, 3 is still doable. More than that, it becomes very difficult to manage. And the exam series, why we are putting this up here is, you must remember IGCSE is a 2-year program. So everything you study in 9 and 10 will be tested at the end of grade 10. So how will they be tested? There will be oral assessments, there will be written assessments, there will be practical assessments. So it's not just pen and paper. For every subject, it differs. And also, every subject does not have just one written paper. Some will have 3, some will have 2. So we'll worry about that later. Yes, subject experts. These are all our grade 9 students who are just getting ready for their and 1-9. Okay.
Hello everyone, my name is Shreyadita and I took first language English. So there are 4 key criterias in FLE. Firstly, you analyze different writing text types, so you analyze the language elements which are being used. Secondly, you figure out implicit and explicit details. I think we've touched upon this in grade 8, but in IGCSE there's a lot of focus on that. Thirdly, we have extended writing. So this is where you write a piece of article from a different person's point of view. For this, you use your implicit details that you analyzed earlier. And fourthly, we also focus on creative writing. So the language elements that you've learned, you apply it on narrative and descriptive writing. In 9th grade, we read a book called As the Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. And one of the earlier batches had read To Kill a Mockingbird. But this year, we are focusing more on several short stories like The Landlady. So, yes.
Hi everyone, my name is Tanya and I'm talking about language and literature. Well, despite its name, literature isn't considered as a language but as a humanities subject. So if you choose to take this over FLE, you will not receive the ICE award. But I think the skills that you learn in literature definitely make up for the gap. In literature, you learn critical thinking skills, writing, and communication skills, which is essential for any career path that you choose. Literature is a coursework subject, and we have 2 courseworks. One is the critical essay, and the other is the empathic task. In the critical essay, you will write an essay ranging from about 600 to 1,200 words about a novel of your choice. And the empathic task is where you assume the identity of a character in the book and write their thoughts. So for my coursework, I've taken Animal Farm for my empathic task, and the character I've chosen is called Old Major. He's a pig, so you have to like write as if you were a pig and about that. But it's very interesting, okay, I promise. And for our actual classroom discussions, we focus on poetry, prose, and drama. So for our prose, we have The War of the Worlds. Our drama is A Midsummer Night's Dream, William Shakespeare. And our poetry is Volume 1, Part 4, Songs of Ourselves. If anyone wants to take a look at that, there's a lot of annotations inside. Pass it around, and please give it back. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. To add on for choosing between first language English and literature, As Tanya said, there is a lot of genres that you have to cover in literature. Also, as she said, we have to go a lot of in-depth analysis of the language and the text conventions. Therefore, preferably if you read a lot and preferably you add a lot of poetry, prose and drama to your reading list, literature would be a better choice for you. And all those students can definitely choose literature because you will be well versed with your analytical skills as well. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, parents and students. I'm Keshavi, and I'll be talking about international maths. So international maths, it's a very fun and exciting subject, but it is also very vigorous. So essentially, we're going to be learning a lot of problem-solving skills, reasoning skills, and all. And we're going to have three major papers you guys will have to write. Paper 2, which is non-calculator. Paper 4, you'll have to use a GDC, which is called a graphic display calculator. And paper 6, it's called investigation and modeling. So in investigation and modeling, we essentially try to figure out relationships between formulas, theories, and numbers. And we try to derive a model for it. So it is a very vigorous subject, and only practice will make you better at it. Thank you.
Hi everyone, so I'm Valina and I'll be talking about AdMath. So if you like math, then I would say that you should take AdMath. You don't really have to be good at it, but it's not an easy subject. You have to do a lot of practice. You have to do past papers, and you mainly have two papers, which is calc and non-calc, and you're not allowed to use the GDC, but if you like math, you should take AdMath.
Before we move on, we have Ms. Janani from the math department. She'll give you a little brief about international math, who should actually take international math and who will benefit from taking AdMath.
Thank you, Aarti. Hello, good morning all. So, as our students have already mentioned about the rigor of the course, both the courses, International Math as well AdMath, are equally rigorous. Okay? So how do we differentiate? How do we help your child choose the right kind of subject? Let me put it in graphs. International Math is a linear learning curve. It is consistent, okay? And it builds around the course for you in order to reach any subject choice in IB, be it analysis and approaches or applications and interpretations. AdMath, for that matter, is an exponential learning curve. You need to have a very strong foundation in here, okay? So does it mean that international math, we don't need strong foundation? No, it's not that. Both these courses have a lot of rigor. One builds linearly, the other builds exponentially. In the end, the summit will be reached. You have to choose AdMath if you have a very strong foundation of math. Are you good in algebra? Can you just apply your algebraic skills? Will you be able to think out of the box? That's when you choose AdMath. International math, do you think you need different perspectives of learning a topic? Do you need different perspectives? How do you apply these perspectives into different other subjects? Say, for example, economics. Say, for example, understanding statistics and then applying it to biology, economics for that matter, or BM for that matter. How do you do this? This is where your international math focuses. So our humble request is, please look at the topics, see where you stand in grade 8. If you have deep rigor and you're up for the challenge and you're really good in mathematics, then please choose AdMath. International math is again rigorous, both weigh the same in terms of learning, both add the same value to your learning curve through this journey.
Okay. Hello everyone, I'm Svaya and I take Global Perspectives as one of my subjects. Global Perspectives, also known as GP, is a subject that has 3 components. It has 2 courseworks and 1 written paper. The first coursework is the individual report. As you all know already, it's a research that will be based on a global issue that you'll pick. You'll have to collect various global perspectives and actions taken by global organizations such as the UN to address the issue that you've chosen. Based on your research, you'll produce a 2,000-word report. Now, on the other hand, the second coursework is the team project, in which you'll have to collaborate with your team members to find a local issue and address the local issue by doing an action. For example, my team and I chose the issue of urbanization causing environmental degradation to ecologically sensitive areas. And in the research phase, we interviewed 5 stakeholders, and our parents played a role in helping us find interviewees. In the action phase, my team and I conducted a workshop with 2 construction firms where we spoke to over 30 employees, including civil engineers and architects, to raise awareness about the importance of implementing sustainable urban practices in their projects. And finally, you'll have the written paper in which you'll evaluate arguments and courses of actions. Overall, I think GP is a subject that helped me enhance my research, communication, and collaboration skills, which are transferable skills, so it helped me in other subjects like business as well. Thank you.
Okay. So basically, history for IGCSE history, we learn 20th century history, which is 1900s to not 2000, but 1991, I think. So you have 6 chapters for your core content, which is like what everyone learns, and then you have 5 depth studies. A depth study is like you take like 30, 40 years of a country and you learn it in depth. So right now we're doing Germany. We're learning the German depth study. We're learning, you'll learn that when you get there. And then you have 3 components. Here we take coursework. The coursework is like GP, like Swaya said, it's 2,000 word essay where you explore the significance of one like event or one concept to like whatever. I chose Germany's U-boats in World War I. And then you have your paper 1 and paper 2, and they answer different assessment objectives. So you have 2 assessment objectives. The first one is where I think you employ historical knowledge and you answer like questions. Brindanti can correct me if I'm wrong. And your assessment objective 2 is basically source analysis. You look at a source. This is your paper 2, by the way, where you'll answer questions about a source, like why is this surprising? Like it's where you compare events and you check whether it's surprising. So overall, I like history. I mean, obviously I took it in IGCSE.
So Mukundan, a question for either you or Velina. So how did you choose between GP and history? What made you choose history?
So I chose history because I like studying it, particularly Nazi Germany. I found it interesting, and I looked over the syllabus, and you also learn about the years before the 2 world wars, which is also interesting, so I chose it. That is it.
Don't do what I did. I flipped a coin. I don't regret it. History's fun. History's fun. That's it. I didn't want to do three courses, team project and IR and GP. No, so it's not that I don't like the subject. I just didn't want to do that much coursework. Yeah, that's it.
So these questions are not scripted and these answers are not. So I'm just putting out these questions like what might come in your head, okay? Economics.
Don't do it.
Okay, so economics is also, it's hard, it's, okay. So basically what I'll say is if you want to do well in your papers, you have to memorize and you have to study. And the portions are initially really easy, but they get really deep really quickly. So that's one thing. So you have to pay attention in class and you have to take notes. And so I chose economics because it helps me connect to the real world. Also because it helps me learn about stuff that's important, such as taxes and interest rates and all of that, which is interesting. Yeah, and micro and macroeconomics. And you have 2 papers. One is theory and one is MCQ. So, yeah.
So, Dwayne sir will give us, Dwayne sir is the economics teacher. He'll give us a little brief about what economics is and how it might be a bit different from business.
Okay. So economics as a subject, like she said, there's a lot of depth that gets thrust upon the learners quite quickly. It starts off really simple, Like the business studies starting point and the economic starting point will be very similar, and then we go off into two completely different tangents. So I think the initial part, learners find it quite easy, but then when we go into depth, that's where they find it difficult. And I think one very important thing that Vilina said is paying attention in class and making notes. It makes the entire learning journey a whole lot easier if you do that. One instance I can tell you is where a particular learner was traveling. I think it was a wedding or something like that, and was away for a week. And when the learner came back, like, sir, can you teach me exactly what you taught the class? And my honest answer to that learner was, I can't. Because each class is dynamic and it changes based on the number of learners in class. So what they put in kind of dictates how the class goes. And it's very, very difficult and not difficult, it is impossible to replicate something like that. And so that's why being in class, making notes and discussing kind of enhances the learning. Now, talking a little bit about the subject, obviously, we'll be focusing on two main areas, that is microeconomics and macroeconomics. So the first part of the entire course is microeconomics, which is, from the perspective of individuals and leading up to how they interact in the economy. And then the macro perspective is decisions that the government makes that impacts everyone. So those are the two main areas. One more thing I wanted to add on, it's just impossible to memorize everything in economics because there are how many chapters, Vilina? There are 6 different sections and 39 chapters. So it's just impossible to memorize everything, which is where classroom learning and making notes and actually being there while the learning is taking place is very, very important.
Thank you. Shriyadita, you want to talk about business? Questions at the end, yeah?
I took business studies. So most business studies is not a subject in grade 8, but moving into IG, first we lay like a foundation, and then you learn about the marketing, pricing, and operations in business. Also, in your classes like eco, it's very important that you pay attention and remain engaged because there are a lot of concepts that are not in the book. So you must listen in class. And we apply these concepts to real world examples like mass and niche markets. Also in business studies, other than just writing the points which you learn in class, you also have to evaluate your action. So we use this technique called as so what, where for every point you write, you wonder how effective it is. Thank you.
So I'm Preksha and I'll be talking about art and design. Basically in art and design, first in grade 9, we'll build up our skills, a basic foundation. We'll learn things we already know and new skills like new mediums like acrylic, watercolor, and topics like cubism and surrealism that will connect to different artists, and we learn their method, what technique they used, and then comes in our courseworks. Courseworks where there are 4 components: AO, thank you, AO1, AO1, AO2, AO3, and AO4. AO1 is basically an observational drawing work that topic I chose is illusion in still life, and we have to make a basic few sketches on it. Then AO2, we'll use that sketches in different mediums like acrylic or clay, POP and stuff. Then AO3 is that we'll connect to the artist, then we'll use the same technique what artists use. And then AO4, we'll combine all the 3 and make 2 works. And final outcome is where we have to sit in the 8-hour examination and complete our work.
So I'm Gia, good morning. I'll also be talking about art and design. So that's the first component, which is the coursework. I'm talking about the second component, which is the externally set assignment. So usually around Jan of your 10th grade, you'll receive the question paper from Cambridge, which gives you 5 starting points, where you choose one and then you basically build another coursework on it, and your final outcome is your examination, which is in the May-June series. It follows a similar structure to the coursework where you have 4 criterions. So this is an artwork from my set exam, which is cluttered. My topic is cluttered. And so my process started with building a mind map and then undertaking a primary research where I take photographs from so that I can better understand what the topic is really about. And then I undertook a secondary research where I looked at art movements and artists who use like visual clutter in their works and who I can gain inspiration from. In AO2, I will be using different materials, different mediums, and different ways to convey the same cluttered convey the same clutter. And then in AO3, I'm using the co-founder of Cubism, who is George Spruck, and Juan Giri, 2 artists who will be inspiring me, and I would take inspirations and try to make artworks which align with their principles of Cubism. And then in AO4, I'll be making layouts and trying to convey my studio clutter, which identifies with me the most. And my final outcome will be made in the 8-hour examination, which is 4 hours on the first day and 4 hours on the second. And yeah, thank you.
So I'm sure most of you know me as a brother of one of your classmates. First I'll be talking about computer science. Computer science is a subject where you need to know, you don't really need a lot of starting knowledge, and the course will take you through everything step by step. There are 2 main parts for computer science. You would split it into a theory part and a programming part. Throughout your first year in computer science, you will focus on the theory part, which is the hearts of your computer, how it works, what are all the input-output devices, how the machine code allows your computer to do what it does. And then the second part in computer science is your programming aspect, where you'll be learning how to visualize code. You'll be learning how to code in Python. You'll be learning how to use pseudocode. And you'll be learning the entire process of you're given an issue in situation-based questions. Then you'll be learning how to simplify the issue into a simple logic statement or a simple thing that you can convert into a drawing. Then you'll be creating a flow chart. And then you'll code in pseudocode, and then you'll learn how to translate that pseudocode into Python. You'll also be learning the difference between low-level and high-level languages and why we're using high-level languages. Then I'll be talking about DT. DT is in some ways similar to computer science because, as you might know, DT has 3 components. There's resistant materials, there's graphic products, and there's systems and controls. I'll start with resistant material because it's the one I actually chose for my coursework. As you can see here, these drawings are actually of a product that I designed during my coursework, and it's a multi-purpose furniture where you can use it for multiple things like a table, a chair, a bed. This is the bed form, and the one below the final drawing is how you're actually going to hold the pieces together. And then you'll also be prototyping your coursework once you finish your drawing and ideation. This is actually Depperon foam, which is like aircraft level foam. And as you can see, it changes into different forms depending on what use you want it. And then this is the final product, which I made, I think, 1 week ago. So these are the multiple forms. I didn't actually make this. I made one of those triangles. The rest the carpenters made because Cambridge doesn't already expect you to make a full product on your own. But they do expect you to know how to use hand tools and machine tools, such as a table saw, circular saw. You'll be learning all of these tools. And you'll also be learning some theory, like the drawings I showed you, like 1-point perspective, 2-point perspective. The drawings, yeah, one more. So the one on my right or your left is called an orthographic drawing, where you showed in 3 different views. You showed from the front, you showed from one of the sides, and you showed from the bottom or the top. And the one on the left is, and the one on my left or your right is a 2-point perspective, where you set 2 vanishing points on a straight line, and then you draw your the rest of your product like that. And then there's also 1 point which is similar. There's also isometric and much more.
Okay, Akhil, can you tell us a little bit about your drawing skills when you started DT?
Frankly, when I started DT, the only things I could draw were those flowers with like one circle in the center and then use all around it. But then they actually teach you. The first 2 to 3 months you'll be doing only drawing. They'll teach you how to draw straight lines without a scale. They'll teach you how to draw quickly because your final exam is only 1 hour 15 minutes. And I actually needed to color these, but I didn't have time. Yeah.
Hi, it's me again. So I'll try to keep it a bit short. Drama is a subject that's more than just performing. It's about building collaboration, creative thinking, and your confidence. So it's a coursework subject. So there are 3 courseworks. One is your monologue, one is your extract, and one is your device piece. Your device piece, you'll be working on a stimulus, and you have to create a devised piece with your entire group, your class. Your extract will be performing a piece with your class that already exists. The monologue will be performing a piece by yourself. All 3 will be recorded and sent to Cambridge. Actually, our recordings are tomorrow and the day after, so thank you. And then there's the written paper, which is for 2 hours and 15 minutes. You'll get two pre-release materials, which you have to study, and then go and write the exam. You'll be asked questions like how you would direct this piece, why do you think the playwright has used this form of lighting, and you'll just be asked to share your opinions about that. Yeah.
All right. When I was about to start IGCSE, I actually was going to take computer science and drama, but music, like we all know instruments and stuff, but in IGCSE, I know this is like the 5th time saying it, but it's just different than that. You have 3 components. You have your listening paper, which is like, they've completely revamped the written paper syllabus for your batch, actually. I have no clue about it, but you have 2 other coursework components. One of them is your composition component, where you make 2 pieces, basically. One of them is a Western classical, so in the style of whatever Western classical you want, a symphony, opera, waltz, whatever you want, basically, it just has to be classical. And a second composition, which is like a modern composition, so it can be any other style that you want. And then you have the performing component, which is, just like you have 2 performances that you have to play. One of them is a solo, the other one's an ensemble. I think, I finished all my music coursework on Monday, actually, with John Sir. So, yeah.
Good morning, my name is Samara, and so for physical education, the reason I chose the subject is because I'm keen on pursuing it in the future, and I also really enjoy sports. So the weightage is 50% is theory and 50% is coursework. For the theory, it's a 100-mark paper, which is mainly your sciences and mostly biology. So for the coursework, you're required to pick 4 physical activities from, there are 7 categories, and you can pick the 4 from at least 2 of the categories. So each of the sports is 25 marks, and Cambridge has a set rubric that you're supposed to follow. So for example, 100 meters, if you want to achieve the full 25 marks, then you have to get 2 timings, you have to get 25.8, so that's like 12 seconds approximately. And then you're marked accordingly. So for some sports, there's also like your execution or how you perform it. And so there's a variety of sports. So these are not all 7 are here, but yeah. So for example, I've picked gymnastics, football, weight training, and athletics. So one sport is my core, and I picked the other 3 to complement it, so it makes it a lot easier. And you really have to push yourself because it may seem easy, but you have to be good at all the 4, and yeah.
Okay, so would you like to should we take questions now about subjects, or we'll finish a little bit about career pathways from UGC and then take questions? What would you prefer? We'll finish, okay.
Good morning. My name is Brinda. I am from the University Guidance and Counseling Department. So today I'm just going to tell you a little bit about why you should not shy away from taking the arts if you're really interested in it. So we heard here students talking about, why what should be the reason you take up a certain subject should be first interest and second aptitude is what I feel. So in the past, what has happened is that many of the students have said they shy away from taking, art. They shy away from taking, opting for music and drama because they feel probably that there are not many college or career pathways. Right, but that's not true. There are lots of new programs that are being offered by many new age colleges. And I will tell you a little about what we have found in our experience and from our KC alumni itself. And we also know that creativity is something that is really, really important nowadays as a skill. All companies, all sectors look for creative thinking people, whether it's marketing, business, right? And of course, it's important for fields like design and others. So why choose visual art? You would see that there are many career pathways, and there is also this element of, if let's say you are planning to do a design course or an architecture course or an art course in college, most universities ask for a portfolio. Right? And building the portfolio is getting the collection of all your artwork together, along with good reflections, along with explaining the techniques and style that goes into creating that art. Now, that type of foundation is laid when students do art as a formal subject. Right? The same goes for music and theater as well. So these are university offers that our KC students have got. You would see some of the very, very popular best universities which offer art and design have offered, options are there like these for all our students. This is performing art. We have also been seeing that the skills you are developing, the techniques you are developing through drama and through music, students are able to integrate all that with other subjects that they are studying, and that's making them more employable. So there are students who do psychology and drama, and they are working right now as corporate trainers. So I'm just giving you an example. Of course, there are many like that, and many other fields that are open to students nowadays. There is, so if you see some of the Indian universities, some of the courses that they are offering are very much aligned to the field, to the industry. So if you, let's say, go to Prasad Audio Video, I don't know if any of you have heard of that. It is a very well-renowned studio where film editing and music production and all happens. They are offering now a bachelor's in music. And when they are giving the bachelor's in music, they are making practical opportunities available for students to understand how, the skills that they're developing or what they are learning in a music program will align with the industry itself. So there are sound engineering courses which are doing very well. Of course, there are conservatories you can go to, theory, basics, everything is taught of drama and music there. Whistling Woods is another place. A lot of practical experience is being given to students so that they can transition very easily into the drama and theater field, or any other field for that matter, which uses those skills. So visual communication, the power of communication is right now very, very sought after, very used everywhere in all areas, and that is built through the art courses, is what we have understood from the last few years. We can take questions now?
So there's actually a thing I'd like to add about the computer science syllabus. As you know, computer science is not, like in the field, computer science is not a subject that stays still. And to reflect that, the computer science syllabus actually changes at an average of once every 2 to 3 years. So if you actually look 2 years before this, we did not have AI in our syllabus and we still don't. But Cambridge is actually going to add it in, I believe, your batch or the batch after yours. And yeah, it just keeps evolving along with the subject.
So I think career paths, you all are quite clear about whether it's engineering or math and all of that is a no-brainer. But this new thing about performing and visual arts, that's why we asked the UGC team to talk to you about it so you can make an informed choice. And most of the kids, I mean, some kids have requested for trial classes and they've been attending trial classes over the last week. And probably when they come back from INME, they'll still have the option now if they think about 1 or 2 classes and why they want to attend it. So as you heard from all of them, so right now you're in grade 8 and we have a few more months before you come into grade 9. So this would be the most important slide for you to actually take away, yeah? So you need to have a consistent study schedule. It's going to be a huge jump from grade 8 to 9. Yeah, if you are consistent and you have good work skills, then IGCSE will be a breeze. And parents, we need your help on the second point. We definitely need device-free learning zones for them. So when they are working, of course, now everything is good. I'm sure all of you have a printer at home. Even if it's a Google Classroom work, print it out, give it to them. They do not need their phones. They do not need their laptops when they're working. Put it away, actually into a different room, and let them work in a different room which has no device. There will be a battle, but we have to face it. And right now, the minimum we are asking for is a 70% in your checkpoints. So please come, checkpoint exams are quite easy compared to what you're preparing for. So you need to at least have a minimum 70% to enter in and make life easier. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard, yeah? So you heard about note-taking, you heard about how much reading you need to do. So if you've not already started, start now. It's not too late. And we will have a diagnostic test for mathematics in April. It will be along with your semester exams. The exam that you're having, that will be your diagnostic test. And that will also have the cutoff for either AdMath or international math and all of that. Yes, questions?
Like,
go ahead, Sai. Okay, pass it to Vyas.
So, ma'am, I noticed in one of the beginning slides it said that there has to be a minimum of 8 students to or then like the class will be cut off. So, yeah, I'm not sure like one of the subjects I want to choose will be having 8 people in my batch at least. So, what is your take on that?
You send in your subject choice. If you think it's like a very important subject we can't do without, we will offer it.
Okay, sure, ma'am. Thanks.
You don't worry about that 8. You can't convince 8 people, can you?
That is true. Yeah. Okay,
But
thank
you
you, ma'am.
can.
I'll try my best. I don't know. Thank you, ma'am.
One question is visual arts will come as a 4-year course in IB?
Yes, visual arts, that is a 4-year course. You can do 2 years in IG and 2 years in IB.
Okay.
So this is a question for economics. So for economics, every week are going to shift around and study a new economy, or for like a year, is it going to be like an in-depth analysis of one economy? Can you answer?
We are not going to do studies on particular economies as such. We're going to lay the foundation work of what is an economy and what you have to look at and what are the components, who are the economic players, who are the decision makers. I mean, as an add-on, maybe you could look at one particular economy and study that, but that's not going to be covered in the course. You're just going to lay the groundwork and the foundation level understanding, because it is a brand new subject for you. If, for example, after 4 years of economics in the IG and the IB, then I think it would be beneficial for you to look at particular economies and do depth studies in that. But without the foundation level knowledge, it would be very difficult to do.
But when you're learning the subject, there will be a lot of examples and case studies taken. So that would change from country to country. You'll be looking at different economies in that perspective, yeah? Any other questions?
Sorry, who's got my poem book? Oh, yeah.
So, hello, I've actually lost my voice, but I'll try my best. Business studies, is it just one paper assessment or is it like MCQ plus assessment?
Okay, so business studies has two papers. One is like a data stimulus. You get a small data and then you write about that. One is like a longer case study. So it gives you the entire business history kind of thing. It talks about HR, it will give you a little bit about financial details. And depending on that, you make some business decisions.
So it's an application-based paper.
It's both the papers are completely application and analysis based. So like Shreyadatta said, there's only 40% of the paper which will actually come from the book. Everything else is your discussions, your perspective, someone else's perspective, and then making a decision.
And design and technology also similar? Is it like a coursework or?
Business studies is not a coursework subject. Design and technology is a coursework subject. You want to add on?
So there are actually two papers for design technology that you have to take. The first paper is called product design and it's a required paper. As of right now, how the thing is, you're gonna get a situation. They're gonna basically tell you a customer wants a product that does this, this, this. They also want it to be, suppose, water resistant or usable outside or movable easily. Then they'll give you questions like state 4 additional features that you deem important for this product, or else sketch 2 methods of suppose they give you like it should be movable, sketch 2 methods of making the product easily movable, like that. And then in that paper you'll actually sketch 3 ideas, take one of those ideas and make a final sketch with colors and using one of the perspective drawing or using one of the types of drawings under that. The second paper can be either resistant materials or system controls. As of my batch, we're doing resistant materials, which is basically like oak wood is water resistant, rot resistant. So you'll be basically given a list of materials, their properties, how they're being used. So types of plastic like thermosetting, thermoforming, types of wood like softwood, hardwood, and types of metals like ferrous and non-ferrous. Those are the 2 papers as of right now.
In DT, coursework is 50% of the weightage. So that is the drawing. That's about how many pages of coursework do you guys do for DT? About 50 to 60 pages of drawing, which gets compiled into their portfolio.
50 to 60 pages of like actual
Coursework, research, analysis, and all of that. And then they make the prototype, which they have to make, and then the design of his product. So they're supposed to given the measurements and drawings to a carpenter who will make it according to that. So the carpenter can't change anything in that.
You also have to be a part while the carpenter is
making it, yeah. Does that answer your question? We'll come back. Any other parent questions? No, not really. Not at all, actually. So that's why we are having this in-depth syllabus with QR codes sent to you, as well as this orientation, because it becomes logistically very difficult for us if they keep changing subjects. Yeah, because you see, we're offering a lot of subjects. We're offering about 17 subjects, and we need to timetable this. So only when I know these choices will I be able to make these combinations. So of course not. So we give you till 31st March, and there is a subject selection form that will be coming out to you today. So children, sit with your parents, discuss this, and then fill in that form, okay? We'll need that form completed by 31st March. So, yeah. Science is all 3. Coordinated sciences has physics, chemistry, bio. The entire batch takes that, yeah. And that goes on in the grade 12? No, when they come into 11 and 12, they can choose. They can, it's an irregular diploma. So they can, there is an option to do that, yes.
So Auntie, you know how in IB we have like French AB initio, like that. Let's say someone's taking Hindi right now, right? And they go into high school and they want to change to French. Is there a course like AB Initio for IGCSE?
No, there is no ab initio for IGCSE. It is at the grade 9 level, all the second languages, yeah. No, between 9 and 10, of course, they can't change. It's a 2-year program and they're learning it for 2 years. So 10, we won't be starting afresh. It's a continuation. Yes. I'll come back to you, yeah.
2 years, what's 2 1 year?
You've mentioned that they can choose either 7 or 8 subjects.
Yes.
And there was a slide that showed the optional subjects on the right-hand side. So there were 4 streams.
Yeah,
I'm assuming, if you could just go back to that slide. So the optional subjects, there are 4 streams that I see.
Yes.
So in the first 2, there are choices. So if you pick one, I mean, for example, if you take the first one, you either pick computer science. So there's no, if someone's interested in computer science and music, that's not an option.
That's not an option, yes. And also this we've designed with the career pathways in mind, as well as what the previous batches have chosen. So like complementary subjects. Usually it'll be computer science and business, or it'll be computer science and DT go together. And it'll be music and drama, they take that together. Art and design, they take it together with DT. So, and generally people do take economics and business together as well. So that's how we put these choices.
Okay, that makes sense. But now the other question that I had was, you've mentioned they can either take 7 or 8 subjects.
Yes.
Can a student take 8 and then drop 1?
Ideally, dropping doesn't look good on your portfolio also, because from semester 1, they will start assessment and it will come on the report cards. So everybody actually can take 8 subjects. Only if they have something, an extra portfolio, an art portfolio that they're building outside of school, or they engage in sports that requires a lot of time. It's only for those students we tell them to take it to 7 subjects. Otherwise, 8 is doable. 8 is more than doable, actually. It's an ideal number to take.
Thank you.
We have continuous assessments. The Cambridge assessment is on the May-June series. Only in May-June they write the assessment which goes to Cambridge, but if you see coursework, it happens through the year and there are different windows. But the internal assessments will be happening from school. The final board exam as such is only in May-June. And for Feb, there's a Hindi exam which happens in Feb. That's only grade 10, yes. 9 is not a board exam year, no. I'm sure your child and you will know how their math abilities are right now. So depending on that, you should choose. And you can take, you can consult their math teachers as well. Yeah? Yeah, so please consult with the math teachers. That will be the best way to go forward with that. So again, this AD math, international math is not a lower level math. It's just 2 different approaches to math. And yes, you can take AD math and anything is open for you when you go to IB, SL or HL, AI or AA, no worries about that.
Auntie, what about AP choices?
AP is not, it's not a school board that we are offering. AP is like an additional choice that you would want to take. So, and we would, Brinda, is Brinda here? Okay. We would suggest that you take your AP courses either in 10th or 11th. Yeah, that will be the best time to take it, unless you want to take pre-calculus now. Right? Sorry, Prithvi is waiting. Let's get
Auntie, what's the difference between economics and business studies, like the main difference?
Okay. So economics, like, no, this is a very common question that we get, yeah? So economics is looking at economies of the world, how it operates, how banks operate, how governments operate. But business is basically how you will run a business. How are you going to motivate your workers? How are you going to produce something? How are you going to make profits? Okay? It's more about that. We will touch a bit on economics. Like how economics, how businesses work within the economy, yeah? That's the kind of answer. You come back later. I have a dosa example to give you. It's not really like that, because if you're sure your child wants to do engineering, let's say, then there's a lot of calculus involved. Then add math is obviously needed. Yeah? But if they're going any other pathway right now, they really do not need additional mathematics. International mathematics ticks all the boxes.
You know how the minimum is either 7 or 8 subjects you can take. So is it possible that I can take 7 subjects and then take more AP courses?
That's a choice that you can make.
And how many AP courses can I take, as in like the maximum?
As many as you want.
Oh, okay.
Because AP is not something we are offering as a school, and we are just as AP center.
Mhm.
So it's like an add-on class, like an after-school class.
So I also heard that we might have school on Saturday because of APs.
If you are taking AP, yes, you have to come to school on Saturday to take after school, right? The day the school doesn't work, AP will work.
Okay, so since there's two different types of math, international math and add math, I heard that, so you know, you guys are going to judge our score on the summative that we take, and then accordingly suggest which math we should choose. But if you earlier said that international math and add math, the difficulty level is about the same and the weightage is also the same. So why do we need a specific score to get into add math?
Linear and exponential growth.
Yeah? International goes like that.
So for add math, your basics need to be really strong because it will move very fast. Yeah? It's a different kind of skill than the international math.
And if you would like to look at, I would definitely suggest that people choosing between add math and international math, please go through the syllabus content for both. Okay? The second page in your additional mathematics clearly says that you need to have a prerequisite of Cambridge mathematics or a very strong lower secondary foundation, which is a 2-year component in Cambridge, which is 0580. It is very clearly written in ADMath. So basically, an ADMath student is expected to work at this level. Okay? But in spite of international math and ADMath, like I said, if you want to reach the summit, international math prepares you well around and then takes you to the top. Additional math needs to be steeper. The learning curve is completely different. You cannot treat additional math just like how you expect hand-holding in every single class. There's a lot of self-learning happening, and you should be motivated to apply the concepts instantly when you're choosing ADMath. That acumen is what we are looking at. Yeah?
Before we take the question, I'm going to send them back to class. Thank you.
We asked.
And one very important